Now at 6, this is Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
A shocking discovery was made over the weekend in the capital city. A teen's body found wrapped in a blanket and tossed in a park. Good evening and thanks for joining us for the Fox 61 News at 6. I'm Brent Hartman.
And I'm Sarah Sanchez. Now 2 young people believed to be responsible have been arrested in connection to a homicide. Fox 61's Matt Karen talked with Hartford police about the case.
Well, the actual crime occurred on Friday, and by Sunday, police already had 2 people in custody. Quick work in a complex and disturbing case of deadly violence. Homicide in Hartford.
It's time for me to move.
An 18-year-old's body found here in Pope Park West, wrapped in a comforter. Someone driving by saw it and thought it was suspicious.
From there, the case started rapidly evolving.
The state's chief medical examiner determined the teen was shot multiple times in the head and neck and identified the body as that of 18-year-old Jose Edgar Martinez.
Nobody really do.
Police determined Martinez was actually killed on Friday at his basement apartment here at 158 Magnolia Street. Police were able to obtain surveillance video showing the suspects, a 17-year-old male juvenile and 21-year-old Sender Soto Velez, dragging out the body.
We were able to find some video of 2 gentlemen bringing what looked like a body outside of 158 Magnolia Street.
It's where Sharon Whitehead lives, at least for now.
And I'm a retired juvenile detention officer. That's sad.
She's making plans to get her and her granddaughters someplace safe.
It's scary. Why out of all the houses, why mine?
Whitehead told Fox 61 she heard 2 gunshots Friday, but didn't call the police.
We're used to hearing gunshots. You don't think anything about it.
Detectives quickly identified 2 suspects and a vehicle they were looking for, located that vehicle on Park Terrace, where the suspects were arrested.
Sat on it, did some surveillance. When it moved, our patrol division and our Southwest community officers stopped the vehicle, took the 2 into custody.
Hartford Police Lieutenant Aaron Boisvert told Fox 61 the suspects were all related and lived together. As for a motive,
we're working a couple theories. Again, the most prominent is there was some sort of disagreement in the apartment that went bad, turned into a physical altercation, which turned into homicide.
the 17-year-old is now charged with murder. The 21-year-old is charged with evidence tampering and hindering prosecution. Hartford police say more charges may be added on in the future. Reporting in Hartford, outside police headquarters, Matt Karen, Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
Well, dry start to the week after we saw some rain last night.
Yeah, some rain, not nearly enough, not what we need, of course. Chief Meteorologist Rachel Frank joining us now. Rachel, I have to tell you, I'm astonished to see another 7-day forecast with no rain in it.
The weather has been so calm lately, and it's odd because remember this summer, it was just day after day of soaking rain. So once again, no surprise, a red flag warning is in effect through the day tomorrow, not just because of the dry conditions lately, but also low relative humidity, meaning the air is really, really dry, but also windy conditions tomorrow too, with gusts up to 30 or 35 miles an hour. And that means any brush fires that start can spread more quickly than on your average day. And yes, this is even after we ended up getting some rain last night into this morning. It was such an odd sound to hear rain hitting the roof last night, anywhere from 2/10 of an inch up to 3/10 of an inch, so almost 1/3 of an inch of rain in Groton. But yeah, not enough. We need way more than that. We need 2 to 3 inches over 2 to 3 days. Today's highs were up around 70 degrees, but it was breezy, and I think tomorrow will be up to about 20 degrees cooler as a cold front passes through. Unfortunately, though, it doesn't bring us any rain. Low temperatures tonight stay mild, dropping back into the 40s, and that's where we start tomorrow morning, 45 to right around 50 degrees as we head towards daybreak. Any early clouds will break for sunshine. It's bright and blustery. We're looking at that northwest wind at 10 to 20 miles an hour, and there could be higher gusts up to 30 or 35 miles an hour with highs close to 50 as we head through the afternoon. We'll talk about when temperatures will rebound, and we'll see if we have any rain in the forecast coming up.
All right, thank you, Rachel. Expect traffic on I-91 northbound if you're heading out. Road crews are clearing a tractor-trailer crash. It happened about a quarter of a mile north of exit 15 near Route 68 around 2 this afternoon, and we're told someone involved in the crash was seriously injured. We're working to learn more about their condition, but state troopers ask you avoid the area if possible. Of course, we'll update you as soon as we learn more.
An injured hiker was rescued from a trail in Ashford yesterday. Crews responded to the Blue Trail in Boston Hollow, where they found the injured hiker. It took crews about an hour to use a rope haul system to bring the hiker to safety. They were taken to the hospital. The extent of their injuries is unclear. And
new tonight, we now know the name of a man who was hit and killed while walking across the street in Bristol. He's been identified as Anthony Fascendini of Plainville. Police say a driver hit him at the intersection of Barnes Highway and Lincoln Avenue just last night before 6. We're told the driver stayed on scene and is cooperating with police. If you saw the crash, you're asked to give Bristol police a call.
Well, President-elect Donald Trump is still naming more cabinet members. Trump has chosen New York Representative Elise Stefanik to serve as the new U.S. ambassador to the United Nations. Stefanik has been a longtime Trump ally in the House, where she serves as House Republican Conference chair. Stefanik is the youngest woman ever elected in Congress. Trump also named Stephen Miller as the deputy chief of policy in his new administration. Miller has been a longtime advisor to Trump and was a senior advisor during his first term in office. He has been a central figure in many of Trump's policy decisions, including to separate immigrant families as a deterrence program in 2018.
And nearly a week since the election, and the balance of power in the U.S. House is still undecided.
Yeah, a win by the GOP here would give President-elect Donald Trump a trifecta, with Republicans in charge in the White House and both chambers of Congress.
Fox 61 political reporter Emma Wolforst is here to explain what we know so far. Emma.
Sarah, Brent, we have our balance of power map here, and you can see both parties inching closer to that magic number 218. At this hour, we still have 17 seats undecided. Last hour, and the only race I've seen called so far today, Democrats going up to 204 with the seat in Louisiana called for them. There are 17, as I said, seats still uncalled. 10 of those alone are in California. All the other 7 are 1 in 7 different states. Those races too close to call. California's reasoning, though, because a lot of votes are still uncounted. And we got some questions from viewers about why that is, why so many House races are still undecided so far out from the election. Let's break some of that down.
We'll start with this. How can there be places without a full vote count when other states are decided Tuesday night? Well, the short answer, every state has its own election laws. Each state's rules and procedures for how to count the vote are different. Some states, like Connecticut, don't allow election workers to begin processing early and absentee ballots until Election Day, which can slow things down. Each absentee ballot must be sorted, scanned, and undergo signature verification to confirm the voter's identity. If there's an issue with the signature, workers have a certain number of days to contact the voter and have them confirm their information, then correct the ballot. That's another processing delay known as ballot curing. In states like Nevada and California, mail-in ballots must be counted even if they are received up to a few days after the election, as long as they are postmarked by Election Day. That means most states have finished counting before California, also the most populous state, has even received all of its ballots. Another question. It's the same ballots as the presidential election. Can't they count both at the same time? And how is it taking this long? They were all on the same piece of paper. Yes, election workers are counting all the races on one ballot when they process it. Keep in mind, though, every voter in the state gets to decide on the president, but not all races are statewide, like House representatives. That means organizations like the Associated Press have enough data to call states for president, while smaller local races remain too close. Election results that take a long time do not mean voter fraud. It's very normal for this process to take a while, especially as voting access has expanded across the country.
Now, some of those 17 seats that have been called, all 5 of Connecticut's House districts. They were called within hours of polls closing last week. All 5 of the Democratic incumbents there retained their seats, and while many districts across the country shifted more Republican, 3 of those here actually ended up winning their reelection by larger margins. I want to show you really quickly. One was Congressman John Larson, who kept his seat with more than 93,000 votes. Then we have, I'm going to go down to Congressman Jim Himes securing 61% of the vote there in Southern Connecticut. And then our most watched, highly contested race, the 5th district, which had a really good chance of flipping and impacting balance of power in the House, ended up going to incumbent Jahana Hayes with a lot bigger margin than she had just 2 years ago. 2 years ago, she won by 2,000 votes. This year, 22,000. We're, of course, going to keep watching this, and we'll keep you updated as anything changes. Sarah, Brent.
Veterans Day ceremonies happened across Connecticut today, and in New Britain, that tradition continued.
Each year, there's always an impressive crowd there. They come to the center of the city for a service to salute local veterans.
Fox 61's Jim Altman takes us there.
A tradition in New Britain endures. The day is about celebrating the colors and honoring the veterans that wore them.
Order, arms.
On the 11th month.
Present, arms.
On the 11th day. And right at the 11th hour. There is a single purpose at New Britain's Central Park Memorial.
Well, to me, it honors everyone who went to boot camp, took an oath, and went out there and did their best to serve honorably.
Where Main Street meets the monument here, observing Veterans Day endures.
Forward, arms.
It is a day to honor the service of those like retired Marine Sergeant John Lynch. He's 88.
As you get older, it becomes more and more important because it was a big point in your life. And the Marine Corps gave me a perspective on life that I would never have had otherwise.
92-year-old Sam Jimenez is an Army combat veteran from the Korean War.
I was in the Army when I was 19 years old, you know, and I was fighting in the mountains of Korea. We were fighting for the country.
Here, it is a chance to preserve history.
Hey!
And to keep the storied past alive by sharing their stories.
Hey! Ceasefire, lock.
We don't particularly want anyone to give us any accolades, but just join together and preserve this democracy that we have.
Just stop for a moment and see that old fella. He may look old like me, but we put our time in and we paid our dues. And I think it was extremely important.
When you see a veteran wearing these hats and different things, ask them their story, but you'll be amazed at what they've done.
Half left, face.
In New Britain.
Present, arms.
Jim Altman, Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.